In the STR8CHEM sessions, we're going to look at the 15 functional groups. What are functional groups? They are the atom or group of atoms which characterizes the molecule and determines its chemical properties. Okay, so the key ideas over here are atoms, group of atoms, which gives the characteristics to a molecule, and you will have the chemical properties to be determined by the functional groups. So there's a tip to memorize the 15 functional groups. You have to know this and you have to memorize them. So this is a method to remember that is called the 7-4-4 method. First, let's try to memorize the easy 7 first. The easy 7 functional groups are, number 1, carbon-carbon double bond. They are very obvious. Okay, it's very easy to be identified. Carbon-carbon triple bond, benzene ring, halogen, hydroxyl group, alkoxy, and phenol. So these are the easiest 7 functional groups to be remembered. So we're going to start with this one first. This is the carbon-carbon double bond. So you have to circle it, and then you have to identify that is the carbon-carbon double bond. And this is the carbon-carbon triple bond. That and that one, number 1 and number 2, those are also carbon-carbon double bond. But when you have in this form, these over here are not carbon-carbon double bond. And you will learn more about benzene ring later on in the video for aromatic compound. So this one is called benzene ring. Okay, so benzene ring can be drawn in this format or in this format. Both are benzene ring, just that the way they are drawn is different on paper. Another carbon-carbon double bond, that is the halogen. So halogen are chlorine, bromine, fluorine, iodine. Okay, so those are example of halogen. And you have benzene ring over here. Hydroxyl group is the OH group attached to your hydrocarbons. So that is hydroxyl group. Another halogen. This is chlorine, but the functional group is halogen. Very easy to be identified. Another hydroxyl group. Okay, remember, this is hydroxyl group. And when you have COC, you have oxygen bridging 2 carbons over here. This is alkoxy. Okay, alcoc, coxy, alkoxy, COC. Okay, you have phenol. So phenol looks like benzene, but it's slightly different when you have your benzene ring and it has OH directly attached to it. So this is phenol functional group. And when you have OH that is not directly attached to a benzene, you have this one. This is hydroxyl group, just like what we have seen just now. What about the 4 carbo? Remember the method 7-4-4. So we have looked at the 7 easiest ones to be remembered. Then we're going to look at the 4 carbo. You have carboxyl group. You have carbonyl group, you have carboalkoxy group, you have carboxamide group. So you have 4 carbo over here. So carbonyl groups are like this. You have carbon, double bond, oxygen. So that is carbonyl group. This one, even though you have C double bond oxygen over here, but at the same carbon, you have OH. Automatically, this whole thing over here will be carboxyl group. So it's different to compare with carbonyl. Carbonyl, you have carbon, double bond oxygen, but on either side of it, you do not have OH. This one, you have carbon, double bond oxygen, and at the same carbon, you have OH. So this is a different functional group, and this one is the carboxyl group. Another carbonyl, okay, you have C, double bond oxygen, and you have H. Remember, that is not OH, so it is not carboxyl. So this one is another carbonyl group. Okay, another carboxyl, C, double bond O, OH, so carboxyl group. And over here you have, it looks like carbonyl, but when you look on that side, you have C double bond, COC, C double bond O, COC. So this one is carboalkoxy. Remember, COC just now is the alkoxy. So carboalkoxy. So that's how you're going to remember that. You have carboalkoxy here. Carbonyl. Okay, looks like carbonyl. Carbo, COC. Okay, COC. Carboalkoxy. So this one is carboalkoxy. When you have C double bond O and at that carbon, you have NH2 attached to it or nitrogen attached to it. This one is carboxamides. Okay, so you have carboxamides functional group. Now let's have a look at the other four. We have looked at the 7 easiest for carbo. Now we're going to look at the AAAC 4 group. Okay, so AAAC stands for acyl amino group, acid anhydride, and cyano group. So those are the functional groups in this 4 portion of it. Okay, so you have the AAAC amino group, acyl, acid anhydride, cyano groups. So amino group looks like this. Okay, so you have NH2. Okay, remember, you don't have double bond O over here. If you have double bond O over here, that one will be carboxamide. Yes, but right now, you only have NH2 right here. So you have, that one is also amino group, even though you have only one H, but that is N, so that is amino group. So when you have C double bond O and you have Cl attached on the same carbon, look at that carbon. This carbon has double bond oxygen. At the same carbon, you have Cl right there. If you have this condition, we call that as the acyl. Okay, so this is the acyl functional group. This one, it looks like carboxamide, but you have another C double bond O over here. So we call this as acid anhydrides. Okay, so you have C double bond O, COC, C double bond O. Another amino group, and cyano group looks like this: C triple bond N. So this is cyano group. Okay, so that's how you're going to identify or remember the functional group. Remember the 7-4-4 method.